Hi everyone, and welcome to the Tribler Podcast. And this is the fourth episode of the Tribler Podcast. And today in the studio, I'm joined by Abongile. Did I pronounce it right?
Nah, that's perfect actually.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's good to have you, bro.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you for having me. You know, we've been saying we want to do this, and now
Quite a long time.
it's time now. It's time now. Yeah.
And this is the time, man. We have the time today to do it. I hope you're doing well.
I'm doing well, man. I can't complain. Everything is going so far so great. Family is doing well. Work is fine. You know, so everything is just splendid, man. Appreciate that. I hope everything is good with you, though.
Yeah, I'm coping.
Yeah,
life has been treating me good.
That's good, man.
Who is this guy who's sitting in front of me?
Man.
Maybe the viewers might want to know who is this guy.
Man, this guy is so complex. This guy is, as much as he's complex, he's also very simple.
Okay.
As much as he's simple, he's very natural, very spiritual, very practical.
Okay.
But in a nutshell, man, my name is Abongile. Bantu Jopu, basically meaning that my middle name is Bantu, from Steve Bantu Biko.
Oh.
Because I actually was born on the day that he passed away. So yeah, my father is huge Azapo fan, so he was just like, yeah, let me give that to my son, you know.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I like the Bantu part because I always emphasize on the Bantu. What makes us human beings is the two. Abantu, we are Abantu. So I like that part of your name, I could say.
100%. It says umtu ngabantu, that's the saying, right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
So in literally direct translation means you can only be a person by helping other people, right? Yeah. So it goes back to the saying that a friend of mine once said back in the day. It says, whatever that you decide to do in life, make sure that you're solving a problem and that you're helping other people. Everything else is just commentary, really. But yeah, that's just like what she said.
I think let me check. I forget what is my about on my WhatsApp. I think it says, I don't need to get it wrong. I need to get it right. Just a second. I think it says, in every person you meet. Where is it? I can't see it. In every person you meet, there is a little God in them, and that's in every person you meet. There's a little God in them, and that's who you talk to. Make sure they see it in you first. Kamagu.
Kamagu that. I wish I could tap you up right now. You're so far though. Crazy.
Away. So today we're gonna discuss the primitive dynamics of the African homes. Okay. So whenever people talk of Africa, they talk of Africa maybe after colonialism.
Right.
But today I need us to explore the dynamics of the houses before colonialism.
Right.
How much do you understand of maybe our own history, or maybe your own history and your own culture and tradition?
100%. I think obviously we have different degrees of the knowledge itself in terms of what used to happen before, or should I say pre-colonial times. I think when you look at the African family setup, you see a very traditional African home in the sense that it is made up of a hut, right? Keyword, hut means natural material. So you everything around you essentially is so natural. Even the chair is made up of the tree that grew up last year. You know, like everything is made up of the earth itself, like the household itself, even the clothes we wear, you know. So there's like a spiritual connection with those items, with that furniture. There's a spiritual connection with the house. There's a spiritual connection because it's nature. It's all part of nature.
It's more like a connection and being in sync with nature. Whatever you eat, you are in sync with nature.
100%.
The way you dress, you are in sync with nature.
100%.
The way you talk.
And also, but just like being around a space where your forefathers used to grow up in, I think that's also very important. I know Mr. Dr. Joshua Maponga actually mentions that at length as well, as to how we are supposed to grow up where our forefathers used to grow up, because this is where our physical, mental, spiritual powers are at their peak. Which is why I think now colonialism saw it very important to displace black people from where their forefathers used to live, because they know for a fact that if they displace them from where they originally lived, then essentially they lose that sense of, a degree of spirituality. They lose a sense of ethnicity. They lose a sense of identity. So that's why displacement was very important for the divide and conquer, I think, system of colonialism, I think. So I think we need to go back to where our forefathers used to live. We need to go back to those spaces and live the way that they used to live, so that, I don't know, I always say the only way to move forward is to go back.
To go back, yeah.
So
I think I hold the same ideas, and I like the fact that you have quite a little, not a little bit, you have much knowledge of how Africa was and how our families were run before colonialism. So if you look at the structures of our homes today, they are structured in a nucleus way, where you say it's a father, the mother, and the children.
Right.
So if you go back into history and time, before colonialism, before the Industrial Revolution, you would see that an African home was, or African societies were more of communal societies. Okay, if I'm holding this cup,
right,
this is not my cup, this is our cup. So it was what I own, you own.
Yes.
That's why when you greet people, you hold them with both hands, because you don't want to lose them.
Yes.
Okay. Oh. So now if you look at Africa today, I honestly think we have no identity. I honestly think we don't know who we are, simply because we don't understand some principles within our African culture. Definitely you and me, we are black, but that does not give us an identity. The color of your skin does not give you an identity. So I always say to people, they call me hey African or hey black. I say I'm not black, I am Shona. That's my identity. I don't identify as black. Black is a color of the skin.
Right.
But within the black, there is an identity. What identifies you as a human being is your culture, your tradition, your religion, and your language. So if you don't have those, you don't have an identity. That's what I honestly believe.
Right. And I totally respect that, obviously, because it does speak at length to what needs to, or what makes up a person. You mentioned them, some of the things, culture, language, things like that. Those are one of the things that make up a person's identity, you know what I'm saying? And I think it's very important that people are clear as to this is how I want to live, and this is the language I want to speak, and this is the kind of, everything when it comes to like the things that you do on a day-to-day basis. But I think also what's very important is, it's like I said, like displacement. So we need to obviously go back. You mentioned something about knowing who we are.
Yeah.
And I think that's also very important. I always say 3 questions, right? 3 questions for me, extremely important. I feel people should be able to answer. First question is, who are you?
Okay.
Right? Second question is, why are you here? Third question is, what do you want? And now I know a lot of people maybe will say the last question is much easier to answer because because I know I think everybody has an idea what they want.
Yeah.
I can ask a person this one question though. You think that they have an idea what they want. You ask them the question though, they probably struggle answering the question because there's so many things that people want, right? And you can't narrow it down to like 1 or 2 or 3 things. So that when I ask you this question, what do you want? You're gonna be blown away for a little bit. You have to think for a second, you know.
You have to think.
But you must be very clear.
Careful. Must also be very careful. Yeah.
What you want. They say be careful what you want. It is not just a saying. It is literally a spiritual law. Because desire, right? When you read like obviously like self-help books, spiritual books, whatever, they tell you that desire is a demand. So the fact that you are desiring something, the fact that you want something, in the spiritual interpretation of it, you are demanding that thing. Because spiritually, the earth is essentially set up to listen to our requests and makes those requests like physical.
Okay.
So
it's more like of a manifestation.
100%.
Okay.
It is literally manifestation.
So what is Africa's? Okay, let me not. I don't actually want to use the word Africa when we're talking of this topic.
Right.
Maybe when we talk of politics, I would use the term Africa.
Right.
But I need it to come to individuals and to to families, to tribes, and to cultures. What is the manifestation of every culture? I've got a problem with mostly people in my culture, especially the Shonas. What do we want? What is our manifestation into the universe? What do we want as a people? Because if you look at Africa, if you look at Shona, let me use Shona. Sometimes I use Africa because it is something that is in DNA now.
Right.
So our African homes or our societies were structured in a way that it is a communal thing, right? So at the center of the family, African homes or African societies were not run by men. Do you know that?
Yes.
African families and societies were run by women. And who was the ruler of the kingdom? It was not the king. It was the queen mother. So African societies were patriarchal. Women were the center of the society. Women were the center of the house. Why is it women were the centers of the house in the societies?
You think you want my opinion on it?
Yeah, if you'd want to.
Yeah. I think women are extremely powerful. I will always say this because I don't think they know this. I will always say this because I want them to know this, and I want everybody else to know this. I think religion, for the most part, has played a huge role in undermining the female in every aspect of life, and I'm talking every aspect, right?
Definitely.
And obviously just sexualizing a woman and sexualizing women. And I think the world now, if you're talking about people who are in control of the world right now, in control of media, in control of news and things like that, they really just portray women to be this, afterthought. Even Joshua Maponga calls it even Christianity portrays women as this sort of afterthought of creation, because it's like God made men first. and then the man was lazy, and not lazy, the man was bored. The Bible,
he had nothing to do.
The Bible describes it as the man was bored, and that's why the woman was there. So it's like it really just takes a woman's role in creation and her purpose in creation and places it on boredom. So you were only created because we were bored.
And you were created just to be a helper.
I don't know about that.
And I think it is a reversal of what actually is true. Because if you see, for you to be umuntu, for you to be munu in Shona,
yes,
that thing we call umuntu or ubuntu is the characteristic or something that gives you morals, values, and that can make you live with peace and harmony with everyone else. So how do you get Ubuntu? Ubuntu first comes with language, right?
Right.
You understand language. In Shona, like you say, I need to refer to Dr. Maponga. When you're greeting someone in Shona, according to Dr. Maponga, you said, Mangwa Anani. Mangwa Anani means who has the good news, who has the words. Because when you sleep, your conscious mind is shut down.
Yes.
And it is your subconscious that is working.
Yes.
So when you wake up, you have the good news to tell.
Yes.
So in Shona we say Mangwa Anani, which means Mangwa Anani.
Yes.
So once you understand the language, it means you have an identity. Then we move from language. The second thing that gives you Ubuntu is the culture or your tradition. If you understand your culture and your tradition, you have Ubuntu. The last thing which gives us Ubuntu is religion, which is the purpose of life. Right? What gives us purpose in life is what is to come. Right?
I think for me it's a bit slightly different for me.
Okay, I'm talking from the primitive perspective of the African homes.
Right.
So if you are good, you know you'll be that bad spirit. In Shona, maybe they will call you Mudzimu Zangara or Shikiro. Right? And when you are a good spirit, you are that good spirit that will be the guardian of the family. And we will appeal to you because you are at a good place. But if you are bad, it means you are not going to be in the good place. So those are the things that gives us Ubuntu. So if as African people, as black people, we don't understand our culture, we don't understand our religion, we don't understand our language, it means we don't have an identity.
I think for me, that's one of the things, right? I think those things are extremely important. Like I said, I cannot stress the importance of those things as much as you've stressed them already. And I think for me, it's I try to make things as simple as I possibly can make them, because I think life. I think people think life is so complicated.
It's easy.
It's not easy, right? But it's very simple. And once you simplify some of the things, then you really just identify, oh, okay, I could have, all right, this is how simple it is. I always say life is hard, life is difficult, right? It is extremely difficult. It's extremely difficult to wake up in the morning and work out. It's extremely difficult to sleep like the normal, like the good hours of sleep without going on TikTok and all these things and spending all night scrolling through social media. It's difficult to wake up and to drink boiled water and things like that and healthy stuff. It's difficult to eat healthy stuff, but it's the effort, right? It's the effort to live righteously, right? So I always say, for me, life is extremely simple and life is extremely fair. We are all given the mind, and we are all given our body, and we're all given a soul. Essentially, those are the three things that we need. And lucky for us, we are all born with all three. Not all of us, because some people are sometimes born without a cognitive function, whatever the case may be. Some people are born with some physical defects. But if you are born and you have 100% physical capability, and you have 100% mental capability, you, sir, have been put ahead of people who don't, right? And you should be grateful that you're able to have these capabilities, because essentially those are the two things you need. If you look at the Bible, you mentioned religion as part of something that's important, and religion to a degree is important. And I think religion should be converted from not religion, but to spirituality. But I think spirituality is all encompassing. I think spirituality is not just for the Muslim or just for the Christian or just for the Buddha, but I think it's for everyone who has a mind, who has a body, who has a soul. And I think those are the three things that really make us up as human beings. I'm not just talking now black, white, colored, pink, orange, whatever the case may be. But yeah.
So back to, you said, or manifestation.
Right.
And I was talking of what is the manifestation of our cultures, though they vary. Because honestly speaking, if you look at the state, let me put Africa. If you look at the state of Africa right now today,
right,
there's no form of identity. Let me throw an example. The Americans can fight, they can kill each other. You can have this party, you can have that party, you can have this president, you can have that president. They have one thing in common. And that one thing in common is the US dollar. It's their currency. They can fight the wars, they can fight each other, but they have one thing in common. They all fight to keep the US dollar strength, right? So if as a people, we have nothing that gives us identity or something that can keep us together, something that can unite us, the only thing that is uniting black people at the moment is alcohol. If not alcohol, it's parties, shisha, and things that are very useless. You know that more. I can't say I have cut some people in my life because it's easy for them to buy you a beer in the club, but they can't help you financially when you are down. So if we don't have that value as black people, if we don't have something that keep us together as Shona people, as Xhosa people, as Zulu people, then what is our manifestation? Because as long as we are focusing on our individual goals, there is no society in the world or a people who are successful through individualism.
Right.
Look at the Jews. They run the world. They are strong. They are united. Look at the Indians. They are united. Look at all the races. The Chinese, they have one thing in common, right? So if we don't manifest these things, then what are we going to achieve as a people? Do we want to go forward or do we want to go backwards.
What you're saying is extremely important. And I think most people, like you said, are most people are selfish, okay? Most people want to do things for themselves. No, I'm being for real. Like most people, if I am able to, as a person, me individually, have a job and I'm able to provide for my family, I'm able to protect my family, I am able to, I'm able to do these things, then I'm fine.
Yeah.
Everything else is fine.
That's where we come to.
That's where the problem lies, because now you are just thinking about yourself. You're not thinking about your next door neighbor.
Yeah.
Remember, we said umntu ngumntu ngabantu. So you are only a person through helping other people. Essentially, if you're not helping other people, then you're not a person, right? So when you look at the, like I said, religion, I will always quote the Bible, because the Bible is extremely important. And I have a few reservations on the Bible as well, but it's an extremely important book.
Okay.
This other guy, I call him my other guy because I refer to him as my friend now, because I watched all of his, not all of his seminars, but I watched most of his seminars. And he's Dr. Kent Hovind. He's an American guy, brilliant guy, taught science for years, and now he is teaching evolution and dinosaurs and everything like that, and about the flood and everything. So he basically loves the Bible, and then he tries to merge what the Bible says with scientific experimentation to try and prove the fact. Because a lot of people would scientifically the Moses's incident of crossing the ocean, it actually is recorded geographically. There actually is some sense of, you can tell that there was a pathway here during this, from this point to this point at some point in time in history.
Okay.
And if you watch Dr. Kent Hovind's videos, he will tell you that the Earth is not billions of years old, right? The Earth is not billions of years old. The Earth is only 6,000 years old, right? The Earth has only been around for 6,000 years. So this means that the stories of David and the stories of, call him King David, stories of King David, stories of, Christ Jesus, the stories of those people back in the day, they're not very far-fetched from now. They actually happened a couple thousand years ago, right? So they're still very much prevalent in terms of their importance and in terms of their relevance to our existence right now. So when you put a huge time frame between us now and our forefathers back in the day, as if they were like there billions of years ago, it really just puts a huge gap between us and them on a spiritual level. But that's just like one of the things.
So I've got issues with, honestly, I don't want us to step into religion, but I've got issues with the religion, because if you check, as I was explaining, the structures of primitive African homes were based and were run by women.
Yes.
Women were the core of the society. So now if we step into the Bible, as you said, it was Adam who was created first, and then it was Eve as the helper.
Yes.
And if you look throughout the Bible, women were not recorded as humans, but as sub-humans.
Yes.
And if you see the hierarchical order, it is God the Father.
Yes.
It is the Holy Spirit, who is also believed to be a man. It was the Savior, Jesus Christ, who is also believed to be a man.
I have a problem with that.
And you won't find women in any religious space
Yes.
when it comes to the Bible.
Yes.
That's why I said the Bible contradicts us as African people. Because, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
What is your totem?
My?
Your totem.
Totem?
Yeah.
I don't know what a totem is.
Okay, a totem is something that can identify you with your ancestry, like an elephant.
Like spiritual animal?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a lion.
A lion.
Yes,
So
a lion.
you are a lion. Did you inherit from your father or from your mother?
Father, definitely.
So that's where we lost it as Africans. You don't inherit your totem from your father's side. You inherit your totem from your mother's side. You can check the Igbos people in Nigeria. Their societies were run by women. So an Ashanti queen mother was the one who gave birth to the king. If you go to the Ashanti are the people of Ghana. If you go to the Igbos from Nigeria,
Yeah.
the same structures. It was the queen mother who gave birth to the king. If you go to the Zulus, it is the queen mother who give birth to the king. If you go to the Shonas, that's how our societies were run. So a king is not the one with authority. The king is a regent, a representative of the queen mother. That is why whenever the council sits, the king will be on the throne, but on the right side, who is sitting?
The queen mother.
It's the queen mother.
Yeah.
She's the one who is making decisions, right? If you look into England today, there is King Charles, who is the king. He inherited from who? From his mother, Queen Elizabeth.
Right.
So, I need to share this with everyone. I changed my identity. I was born Zakaria Mundondo. That's my birth name.
From my father's side or mother's?
That's my father's surname.
Right.
And now my new identity is Tinotenda Taweguyo. Where do I get the idea of changing my name? Zakaria is the name that came along with colonialism. It's a colonial name. It's not a Shona name. I don't even understand what the meaning of the word Zakaria.
Yeah.
So I had to let go of that name. And I have to find a name that can resonate with who I am, that can identify me as an individual.
Right.
And I find the name Tinotenda. Tinotenda means Siabonga. Thank you. Right? And my new surname, even though I don't agree with the concept of surnames, is Taweguyo. So my new name is Tinotenda Taweguyo. Tinotenda Siabonga. Who? Taweguyo is the name of my mother. So that's my new identity. I don't identify anymore with my father's lineage. I identify with my mother's lineage.
Whoa.
That is nature.
That's pretty
So
impressive, man.
We lost it as Africans the very moment that we break the communal society.
What you're saying is, oh man, what you're saying is, it's honestly mind blowing right now. I'm being for real because it's honestly blowing my mind.
Yeah.
Because I have never heard anybody take it to that extent of, I'm gonna now change, you know?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people would be okay with what they already have, you know? Like they're stuck with it, and it's like it's fine, right?
Yeah. And also, people are afraid of being judged by society. They care more much about what other people think on them, or think about them. But once you know who you are as an individual, if you can answer the question of who I am, what is my purpose? Because your name is not your identity. So the identity, what identifies you, it has to come to a personal level. So back to African societies, where we lost it is when we break down the core or the center of the family. And as I explained, what is the center, or who is the center of the African primitive family? That's women.
It's the mother.
So if you go and check in Europe, families were also nucleus. No, families were not nucleus. They were also communal. People were sharing things as a community. But in the 17th and 19th century, during the Industrial Revolution, because the top guys wanted to industrialize, they wanted manpower, they wanted more taxes so that they can build these industries. What did they do? They separated and break down the families. So now it is me, my wife, and my kids. That is a family. But when you grew up, where did you grow up? If you still remember, what was a family?
100%. It takes a village.
Yeah.
Right? It's in the family. So there's an uncle, there's a grandma, there's everyone here.
Yeah.
Like, it's a beautiful thing.
So there was no competition within the family. There was no competition within the society. Because I know that if I go in the hunt and I find whatever I find, a piece of meat or whatever it is not for me.
Right.
It is for everyone.
Yeah.
And I like the power of language. In Shona, when you have done something great, they say makorokoto, which means congratulations.
Right.
In English, you reply, thank you. Not so in Shona. When someone says makorokoto, you say ndedu tese, which means this what you're congratulating me for is not for me, it's for us, which means ndedu tese. right? So there is an element of involvement of everyone. Whatever I have, you also have.
Right.
So there was no concept of orphans in Africa. It came with colonialism. There were no widows in Africa. They came with colonialism. But because we break down the families, there is no unity. Everyone now is focusing on their own individual goals.
Right.
So we're never going to go far as a people because we have break down, especially, that's why I always fight. Most people ask why I'm always against religion or Christianity in general. It breaks down, it breaks the families apart. When I was a Christian, I couldn't go to my village to perform some rituals with my family because the Bible tells me not to mingle with those of the world. And I would call them of the world and I'm the chosen one. So because I feel like I'm chosen, I can now not participate in the rituals of the family.
Right.
So colonialism has done us a lot of things bad. And you know, nowadays we say in-daughter is the man of the house. That's bullshit. Do you know that? There's no such thing in Africa.
I always say this thing, right? Like you look at like families in general. And you look at a family in general, you ask yourself the question, who is the head of this household? Now, I'll let you with that question for a second. Because a lot of people would automatically think, oh, it's the man.
It's the man, yeah.
I wear the pants.
It's the man.
Or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But if you look at the dynamics of the family, who makes money in the family? Maybe it's the husband, yeah, sure. But who controls the money in the family? It is the wife. Yeah. Now, I don't care if the wife doesn't work. The wife may not work. The wife may be unemployed.
Yeah.
But the wife has the husband's wallet in her chest. Like it's here in her breast. Like it's here. Because she controls the financial decisions. And she is essentially in control of the family because now the decisions are based on what she decides upon, not what the man decides upon. Now, we may think that it's the man who decides this because it's the man who goes out there to get the bread. But let's be honest, if you look at the animal kingdom,
yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that we're animals, but we are animals, just of a higher degree, isn't it?
We are related somehow.
Yes. So if you look at the animal kingdom, you look at the king of the jungle, right? The king of the jungle is not necessarily the biggest in the jungle. Is not necessarily the fastest in the jungle. Is not necessarily the hunter in its family as well.
Yeah.
But he is still the king of the jungle.
Yeah.
But you know who the real hunter is, and you know who it's the female.
The female.
Right? The female is going to be the one to go get the bread. The female is going to be the one. And so essentially you look at that and you think, okay, so us as people as well probably kind of share the same character traits because we are the kings of this world. For sure. Right?
But we are not the rulers. I like that you talk of animals. Do you know that in nature, all the pretty animals are males? And the ugly ones, or the ones that doesn't look good. If you look at the peacocks, the one that is shining, the one that looks good, the one you can say this one is beautiful, it's a male. Why? Because males need to attract females. So males need females more than women need men.
100%.
So if you look in general, boys are prettier than girls.
I strongly beg to differ. I strongly
that is
beg
why.
to, yeah.
That is why nowadays women wear makeup. Women are ugly. I'm not bashing them. I'm giving them an honor. Women wear makeup as a reverse because they are not prettier than boys. So they wear makeup to attract, which is against nature. Which between the two lions, the male and the female, which one is more attractive?
It's the male.
The male
with the mane and everything.
So boys are prettier than men. So
I mean, I will say that, right? I would definitely say that I'm prettier than girls, but I think my girlfriend is prettier than me. That's for sure, right? But I get what you're saying. Though. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So the dynamics of the African home. a man is not the head of the house. So this is how power works, like in social. Every politician that you know, or everyone with power or with wealth or with money,
Right.
is not masculine. Those guys who are physically fit, they are not in top positions of power and they don't control wealth or capital. They protect the ones with the power and capital.
Right.
Look at the politicians. How do they look? Are they physically fit?
No, they're not.
No, they're not. And who is protecting them? It is those who are physically fit. So people make a mistake that because men are masculine, because men have strength and physical power, therefore men are leaders. That's a lie. Nowhere in the world have you ever seen someone being a king or a leader or having power because they are masculine. Social power lies with those who are psychologically intelligent and emotionally intelligent.
Right.
Look at Elon Musk.
Right.
Look at the guy who owns Facebook. What's his name?
Mark Zuckerberg.
Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
Does he look fit?
Oh no, he's not.
Just look at his security personnel. They're all fit, but they are protecting who? The guy who is not fit.
Right.
Right? So people make a mistake to say women are feminine, men are masculine, therefore men are leaders by nature. That's a lie. It would make sense if we were in the jungle where we need strength to fight. Then the one with masculine power will dominate the feminine. But this is a social structure of human beings.
Mental, psychological.
Right? So it does not require your physical strength.
Right.
It requires psychological and emotional strength.
Yeah. I believe what you just said is extremely accurate. I've never thought about it in that light. I think for me, I always when I look at a man and I look at a woman, when I look at a man, I see a practical. I remember, you remember when I described myself, described myself as a spiritual, practical man.
Yeah.
And I feel like females, for the most part, are mostly emotional than physical, practical.
Yeah.
But men are mostly just practical beings. Like we're just like, okay, we want this, want that. I want to touch this because I want to. I want to feel that because I want to. Like I you know.
Yeah.
But with females, it's like I want to do that because I feel it is, you know. So feelings are prevalent with females than us as men, because with us it's like we can just do anything because we want to. It's like cheating, right? So cheating for men is not the same as cheating for women. And I say this in front of the whole world, but cheating for men is not the same. Because I feel like cheating for men is essentially, I wanted another girl. That's just it. Like I wanted another girl. But with females, it's like, I cheated because he doesn't love me. I cheated because he doesn't care about me. I cheated because I'm looking for something else that I'm not finding with him. I cheated because. Okay. And those reasons are far more detrimental reasons than what a man can say as a reason for cheating. Okay. Because a man can just say, I cheated because I saw the girl and she looked nice. And that's it. And that's literally the truth. But with females, it's like, I'm looking for something that's missing. That's why it's much more deeper than cheating. That's why I feel like most men, I think this day and age, they are the leaders, if you like, because we're more logical and more practical about our action.
Let me tell you a secret.
But with females, it's like they're more emotional. If you watch movies like Acrimony, and I know Acrimony is a bit of a contested kind of movie in terms of opinions is concerned. But when you look at Mel, which is the girl in Acrimony, you find an emotional being that just wants to support her, you know, the person that she loves, not having the full scope of, you know, maybe this man will provide for. It's just hope, right? I'm hoping he will come, right? And I love him so much, so I will definitely provide for him. And I'll definitely do that for him. But am I sure? So there's no logic involved. It's just moving with emotion.
So I honestly think that we are in this mess because we don't understand nature. We are in this mess because we have lost our identity as a people. Let me give my fellow men, maybe, and you and everyone else who is watching today. Men are not easy as a game when it comes to cheating. Men are not the masters of the game when it comes to cheating.
No, pretty terrible actually.
Women are masters of the game.
Yeah.
And men are weak. When a woman cheats, a man will break because men are emotionally weak. Women are emotionally strong. That is why you can cheat on your girl, you can cheat on your woman, and she can forgive you. Not because she's stupid, because she is emotionally strong. And we confuse it for weakness, and we confuse it, and we wear these jackets and say, I'm a man, I can do what I want. Let me tell you a secret. The reason why we don't trace our lineage through our fathers, but through our mothers, 99.9% chance is that you are not your father's child. Do you know that?
I mean, I think I'm my father's child.
So the only person who knows your father is your mother.
Right.
The chances of you not being your mother's child can be 1%. The mistake can be done at hospital if they can misplace the babies.
Yeah, that's extremely rare. Yeah.
That's extremely rare. But the chances of you not being your father's child are extremely high. That is why in Africa, I always want to go back and emphasize this point. You trace your lineage from your mother. You don't trace your lineage from your father. Because, let me ask you this question. In your family dynamics, it's a personal, you can choose to answer if you want.
Right.
You know, in your family dynamics, who are you more related to, your father's side or your mother's side?
I think naturally it would obviously be mother. And I know, and I say,
do you know why?
Yeah. I say obviously because naturally you're born by this person. So you,
and naturally, they know for sure that if my sister had a child, the chances are high that this is her child.
Right.
But if you are my brother and you have a child, there's an element of doubt. You can be.
But let's be honest though. Let's be honest though. If you're being realistic, right? In terms of choice is concerned, if it takes two to tango, obviously, right? It takes two to make a child. And if now we have a situation here where we have one member of the party being able to escape the party, and you have another member of the party who is not, and the female typically is not. The only way they escape the party is if they get an abortion, and we don't particularly encourage the idea of an abortion. And so with that being said, it's almost like a female is forced to mother the child because of their rejection of the idea of abortion. So they don't want abortion, so they will have the child, but they don't have a choice to be part of the child's life. That's why you find sometimes some females probably don't even love their children. And this is a very deep problem.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a big problem. Now, that one is the biggest one because when you give birth to a child, the child knows absolutely nothing else. The child literally is so dependent on the person that they came out of. When you look at a puppy, a puppy can't even open their eyes. The only guidance they need is their mothers. You look at a hen, like chicken, right? Every single animal, look at birds, right? Every single animal, their first line of authority is their mother, right? That's the first line of authority. So when you look at that and you really just consider the dynamics in terms of authority now between man and woman, you really find that maybe, just maybe, it could just be the female who has the greater authority than men.
Women has always been, I don't like hip hop, I don't like Beyonce, but she's got a famous song which says, "Who runs the world?"
Right.
It is girls, and you can disagree. You can argue as much as you want.
And to what you're saying, right?
Females run the world.
100%.
Okay, so I need to give you an analogy. In Shona, the creator is called Musikalanu. That's the creator of human beings. And do you know what is the term of a girl? It is called Musikana. And the name of the term for a child is Nwana. So when you're referring to a girl, you're referring to Musikalana, Musikana, the creator of kids, the creator of humankind.
Yes.
So the concept of God in African culture or in my culture in Shona, woman or women are creators. And we call the supreme being Nwari. And Nwari is what is it called? I forget the name. Nwari is translated as to Muhari. So Muhari means the clay pot. A clay pot is a resemblance of a womb. That's why you see a clay pot is shaped like a womb.
Right.
So in a womb, that's where you are
molded essentially.
Right?
Yeah.
So women are Nwari because of the womb. So women create life. For 9 months, you were in your mother's womb. You were being created. Right? So back to the idea and the concept why I don't want to use the Bible when we discuss African cultures and traditions. It contradicts our core values and what gives us an identity. Because it takes away responsibility from women and it gives it to men. That's why now the world is not at peace. Men are competitive. Men don't hesitate to kill. Men don't hesitate to do bad things because they don't create life. But women, because they carry a child for 9 months, that's close to a year, it's not easy for them to kill because they understand the pain of bearing a child and the value of creating life. So when our societies were still run by women, there were less wars. The world was at peace, right? We were at harmony. So now that we don't understand the dynamics of who we are as a family, the dynamics of our families, now the man is the head of the house. I don't listen to the woman. Whatever I say as a man is what goes. Then what do you expect? What is the outcome of us as a people?
Probably some violence.
As you said, the only way to go forward is to look back.
Yes.
If we want to go forward as Xhosa people, as Zulu people, as Tonga, as Vendas, whoever the case may be, the only way to go forward is to go and look back. Right now, we don't have an identity. I have a problem with people who want to associate themselves with the black Americans. Let me say this loud and clear.
Yeah.
My skin is black, but I don't want to be associated with black Americans. I don't want to because I don't share the same identity with them. If you look at black Americans, they are the role models of black people in Africa. How many white celebrities have you seen online who behave the same way as black celebrities?
Man.
So if you're an African parent right now and you don't train your kids and you don't teach your kids, someone somewhere is ready to train them. If you don't do it yourself, the government is ready to do it for you.
Yes.
That's why they created the schooling system.
Right.
When you are at work, you are doing whatever you are doing at work. Where is your child? They are at school. What are they learning?
Right.
So we have lost it when we take women from home and we empower our women. Women are not supposed to go to work. Feminism is a scam to us as Africans. To personally, to me as a Shona person, feminism is a scam. It is there to break up, to break apart the families, because what creates a human being, as we have said, we said 3 things:
right,
language, culture, and religion. So, who teach you the culture, the language, and the tradition, or the language? It is the female.
Yeah.
It is the mother.
Mother tongue.
So, if the mother is not there to teach these things to the kids, who is doing the job? It's the government. It's the society.
Right.
It's the TV. And what are your kids programmed to do?
What they programmed to do?
They are watching Cardi B. So, I always tell people, I don't want to be associated or to identify myself with the black Americans or their culture. So let's do a consensus, Right now, the youths of today in Africa call themselves niggers. Do you understand what a nigger means?
There is a historic meaning actually, I think, behind the term nigger. I think nigger is coming from to apologize for that.
Sure.
Nigger comes from a Ethiopian term, and Ethiopia is a different country as well. We're going to talk about Ethiopia in a bit.
How far are we going to talk?
52.
Okay.
52. Yeah, Ethiopia is a bit different. So nigger comes from the term negus, right? So negus, and then white Americans will call it negas.
Yeah.
It's the term meaning king in Ethiopia, right? Ethiopia means it's Ethiopian for king. So which means essentially niggers are kings, right? So we just
the term nigger is the term negro. So it's a mockery name to the black people. Black people are referred to as Negroes because of the color of their skin. So it's a mockery name.
I get that.
And now if you ask anyone in the street, what's up, nigger? They don't understand what they're saying. It's a mockery. It's not something good.
Negro is a mockery.
Yeah.
Nigger is a derivative from negus, which is historically meaning king. Which is when the white man infiltrated Africa,
okay,
right? Black people were only called negus,
okay,
which is king, right? So now the white man obviously will just go whatever what he knows, right? It's like, oh, negus or negus, niggas. And then they ended up taking that term and demoralizing it and taking that term and spilling some bad words on it and bad connotation upon it. And then now we see the word as a bad word.
So the history of the word nigger is often traced to the Latin word nigger.
Let's do some research on it.
So the word is actually a mockery, right? It's an ethnic slur against black people.
Let's look up negus.
So
Ethiopian term for negus.
I was explaining the point that our youth today or our young kids today, they call themselves nigger. That's what they identity. That's where they're identifying themselves as niggers. They don't understand the concept or where does it come from.
I think the main reason why black Americans, right, call themselves niggers, it's almost like I'm taking back the power that you can't offend me. So basically the white man calls a white man the nigger because he thinks that he's going to offend the black man.
Yeah.
But now if the black man calls himself the nigger and is proud of it, and the white man can't essentially call him a nigger because he's proud of it.
Yeah, but I'm saying when it comes to our kids in Africa, is there a reason for them to call themselves niggers? So I'm going back to say, if African parents or if black parents are not doing enough job to educate their kids, something is ready to do the job.
Yes.
For them.
It's like a book I read a couple books, but one of the books I read, it says, obviously, power of your subconscious mind. If you don't run your subconscious mind yourself, someone else will. And it's almost like if you don't control the thoughts that come into your brain, someone else will. And what we think about is extremely important. What we say is extremely important. And of course, what we do is extremely important. We can only do those three things. We can only think, we can only talk, and we can only do stuff physically. Yeah. So what we do with those three functions is extremely important. And in those three functions, they actually have some sort of importance towards the process of creation. Creation is. I always say we're here to do two things. We're here to protect and we're here to promote indalo kabawo, which is I call him ubawo because ubawo directly means father. So if you look at the Bible, like I said, I always mention the Bible because I feel like there's some key aspects of the Bible that a lot of people tend to overlook, but they're so key to a point where if people were to dissect these scriptures, you'd find that they'd find a lot of meaning towards this whole life thing in general. So you look at the Lord's Prayer. You see Jesus Christ said, if you want to pray to the Father, you don't know how to pray, you must pray like this.
Do you ask, if you want to ask something from your family, would you ask your father or your mother?
I ask both of them.
It's the mother.
I would ask both of them.
But okay, the relationship of fathers and children is not as the same of mother and children.
It is not.
Right? It is a woman who raised the kids.
Yeah.
And the bond of the mother and the child is stronger than that of the father and the child.
100%. Because the child was inside the mother for 9 months.
Yeah. That's why, you know, in Xhosa, what is umveli nqangi? It is the sun.
Yeah.
It is hot. It is harsh. That's a representation of the divine masculinity. And nomkubulwane, right, is the divine femininity.
Right.
Which is so calm, which gives comfort.
Right.
Right? And that's the representation of the divine femininity. So when you ask in your own culture, do you ask to umveli nqangi or you ask to nomkubulwane?
That's a very important thing. It's a very important thing. And I will say to you, I think naturally you would ask the one that you feel, I think naturally and just like normal kind of like mother, father, you know that you have a stronger relationship with your father or you have a strong relationship with your mother. And I think ultimately you'll want to ask the mother or the one that you're close with mostly. But I think with creation in general, like you said, Holy Trinity is definitely not Father, Holy Spirit, and then child. It definitely is mother and father and child. Now, as much as the mother is important, the father is also important as well.
For sure.
So when you look at spiritually, like I said, mind, body, soul, right?
Yeah.
Mind, body, soul. And when you look at it from that perspective, right? I'm going to give you like some sort of like food for thought right now. You think about that for a second. We will talk about it in the next episode. Okay. But you look at the mind, you look at the body, you look at the soul. Now, the body physically is made up of, right, the soil. This is what Dr. Mapong says as well. It mentions this as well. And when you do your own meditation on it, you'll find a proper explanation on it, which is why I feel like a lot of people have the truth. The truth is inside. Okay. You know what they call intuition, right? Intuition is essentially learning from within. You know, when you go to university, you pay tuition, right? Yeah. But now intuition is learning from within. Okay. Right. So you probably get the other term opposite of that would be extuition, but that's not really like a thing. But intuition is learning from inside, right? So intuition. So when you're learning from inside, what you're doing is essentially you're closing your eyes and you're putting yourself in a state of calm. You did mention calm as a very important thing, and a calm is extremely important. When I look at people going to church and they've got these bands, they've got these loud music on, I'm like, guys, do you guys know the ultimate? The ultimate characteristic of wisdom is calmness.
What the Bible says. It says, they honor me with their mouths, but their hearts are far from me. So when you pray, go into your inner rooms, shut the door, and pray in silence.
It's a relationship between you and the Father. It's not a relationship between you and the people and the Father. No, like it's... So meditation is part of it, and meditation is that personal kind of calmness, kind of like quiet feel. And that's what you want. That's what they say, a cool, dry place. I call it, I don't call it you must be in a cool, dry place, but I call it you must be in a cool, dark place. Now, being in the dark is another part of the conversation that we need to have, because the dark is also
I think Nanta, we're gonna have a next episode on the I need to say 4 things that I think are most important. I need to advise African parents on this one. Number 1, do not give the kids what they want. The universe is never going to give you what you want. It's going to give you what it wants. Right? Don't give kids what they want. Give them what you want. If you want your kid to eat porridge, that's it. Give them porridge, because the world is not fair. Okay. Number 2, don't reward your kids for doing their duties. It is the duty of your child to clean their room. You don't reward them for that. It's a discipline and a responsibility of them. When they grow old, they know they will understand they are not going to be rewarded for doing their own duties.
Right.
It's their own responsibility.
Right.
Okay. Number 3, don't give your kids freedom. Human beings have never been free. You wake up in the morning, or you are born, there's an authority of your parents. You go to work, there's the authority of the boss. You are in a taxi, there's the authority of the owner.
Driver, yeah.
Wherever you are in a restaurant,
right,
there's the authority of those people who control the environment.
Right.
So human beings have never been free. So don't give your children or your kids freedom, because once you give them freedom, when they go out into the world, it will be difficult for them, because they have too 100%, much freedom from 100%. Home. Let me see what is the other one here. The last one is more controversial.
What's the last one? Let's hear it.
Discuss love, discuss sex, discuss relationships and marriages with your kids.
I wouldn't say it's controversial. I think it's pretty fair, actually.
Because if you don't discuss sex with your kids, they are never going to know it. They will be taught sex through social media. They will be taught sex by someone else, and they will engage in these activities out of ignorance. That's why most kids are impregnated in school, because at home, no one talks of sex. At home, no one talks of love.
It's a taboo conversation.
At home, no one talks of relationships or marriages. It is only for the father and the mother. So we need to have these conversations at home, and equip your kids, because you are not living in a vacuum where you can say you are isolating yourself. You are going out into the world, and you need to equip your kids and to prepare them for the world. How far are we? Sure.
No, that's brilliant, man. That's
I really
brilliant.
Appreciate you, man. I really appreciate the time. I think we had a great conversation, and I think we need to do this again.
No, 100%. And I think the sooner the better, actually.
And thanks everyone,
so
for watching and being in touch with the Tribler podcast. This guy is going to be on our next episode, so keep in touch. Keep in touch.
Appreciate that, man.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you for having me, man. One more time, and here's to the next one. Let's go.
Sure, man. All the best, yeah.
Let's go.
Thanks, Nantao.